I'm Barbara Hedlund. I'm one of the co-founders of this commission, and I'm here to welcome you. We're going to have a call to order, roll call, and our declaration of quorum, which we don't have today, unfortunately. But we're happy to have everyone here today. So I don't have all the names in front of me.
No, I'll call the roll.
So you're going to do it, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I've forgotten how to do this.
That's okay.
I so rarely, as many meetings as I've attended for the last, 14 years. I think I know what's going on. I've forgotten now.
All right, so call the roll. Ms. Bex, Mr. Monica,
Here.
Ms. Hedlund,
Here.
Mr. Miller, and Mr. Pania. Okay. We do not have quorum.
Do we have any additions to the agenda?
One addition from me, I'd like to move the grant reports first and then my staff report afterwards.
Good. So should we move ahead to Small Press Fest? First one. We'd like to welcome Sarah Christensen of Small Press Fest to present her final report for the 2020 Urbana Arts Grants Project, Small Press Fest. So we need just a moment to get all the technical hookups ready.
You want me to pass them all?
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you. Great.
These are some examples that she's going to reference.
Oh, wonderful.
Can I open this or is
Yeah,
this?
you can open it.
A bunch of stuff just fell out. Oh, a bunch of, sorry, I'm like,
Do you have audio or video just fine?
no.
Whenever you do speak, we'll just want to speak in either one of them.
Okay. Where is this presenting to? For the computer presentation? Oh, okay. Stuff happening in the background. Okay. Should I wait for Rachel to get back? Okay.
Good to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, can I get started? Go for it. Good. Okay, so I am here to talk about the Small Press Fest, which was generously funded by an Urbana Arts grant. I think this was the 2019 cycle maybe, and COVID happened and lots of extensions happened, but we made this work. It was virtual on November 7th through 15th. And we actually had another component of the event just last month as kind of an interim between this one and the next one, which will be in October. But talking about the virtual Small Press Fest. Just to give you a little bit of a background, the Small Press Fest is a celebration of small press publications and DIY artists in Champaign-Urbana and surrounding areas. So we're focused on the Midwest, but there are still some people who filter in through beyond. It's an annual event. This was the second iteration that we had. And our goal is to promote authorship, creativity, facilitate connections amongst artists and its local community, and also re-examine who creates knowledge, because a lot of times marginalized voices are pushed out of conventional mainstream media publications. So the Urbana Arts Grant, we were awarded $2,500. A lot of this was originally going to go towards space facility rentals and, refreshments. I can't think of words anymore. I almost said produce. It's just, but with the pandemic last year, we had to be a little creative. I talked with Rachel a lot about this and, tried to look at what other places were doing for, arts fairs around COVID. And we are proud that a lot of the money actually went back directly to artists who needed it at the time. So just over $1,000 went back towards 15 artists. One of those was a keynote speaker, Tanya Ingram, who is fantastic. And then the rest of the honoraria were divided amongst a lot of other authors and artists who did segments like author readings, and they interviewed each other just to kind of like put them together, talk about what they were doing with each other, and I thought that would create a deeper conversation if they were talking to each other rather than an outsider interviewing. We also had, I have actors on here, so we hired 2 local actors to host a home shopping network style segment, and that will be going on Urbana Public TV, is that the right name of it, soon, as another like interlude and lead up to the next Small Press Fest. But a lot of artists use these, book fairs and small press fairs and zine fest to, sell their work. So we tried to figure out a way to still get people to buy their work, even though we couldn't see each other. Printing, the $24 went towards, there is an example up there in one of the bags. It's called Midwest Explorer, is the zine, and, Barbara has it. So that was where the $25 went. We had, we also wanted to have some, COVID-friendly outdoor events where people weren't just in front of a computer all day. So the author of that zine hosted a hike at BC Woods to go and, point out trees and nature and things. And we gave every participant a copy of her zine. And workshop supplies, Cowhouse Press in Chicago did a virtual character development workshop as part of the Young Artist Studio. And we provided supplies for all of the participants for that to pick up. So I just added some screenshots. Some of this, it went to, I should say also, I don't have, videography, yes, $850 for videography. And this is an example of some of the videography. This is a screenshot from our Home Shopping Network segment right here, with our lovely actors showing off Meekling Press. We also did some collection tours, because we're a library and we have a lot of great zine and small press collections in town. So Becca from the UCIMC Zine Library did a small tour that we videoed, and then the Rare Book and Manuscript Library also did a tour, and we had a videographer edit all of that together. This is our keynote speaker, Tanya Ingram, who has published some books of poetry, some self-help things. These are everything. We have a YouTube channel, and everything that we did was recorded and posted online. There are different playlists for author readings and the artist interviewing artist segments. This was our cold, rainy November hike where even the dog wore a sweater and then went home because he was cold. But that is Sarah in her fieldwork outfit, Glory, ready to lead the hike. And this is the Cowhouse Press workshop, and librarian at the Urbana Free Library, which was the pickup location for the materials, is holding up some of the supplies right there. So that is all I had.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Sarah.
sure.
Any questions for Sarah Christensen or Small Press Fest?
Normally, you would collect the number of attendants in person. How did you, how was your readership or your viewership? Were you able to track any of your statistics? Did you feel good about them when it was all over?
I felt okay about it, considering I think at this point in the pandemic, everyone was a little burnt out with online happenings.
Sure.
So we tried to disperse that a little bit, but I looked at the statistics that we had on YouTube, and we hosted like Facebook premiere parties for a lot of things, and it was every video had over 100 views. The keynote speaker had almost 1,000, so. We did feel pretty good about that. The in-person, the Midwest Explorer hike only had 5, although it was like a very chilly November morning. So I was actually surprised by the turnout for that. And the Young Artist Studio had 21 registrants over Zoom, and not all of them showed up, but it was still, it was a really great workshop.
Good for you. Yeah, I can imagine if you were expecting less than that, so anything over a certain number probably was a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and it's really nice to have all of this recorded that we can use in the future for promotion and just to
Definitely.
give people an idea of what this is all about.
Super.
I was just curious, looking at the zines, it's mostly prose. You did mention that you had the keynote speaker who was a poet. Were there other opportunities for people who were interested in poetry?
Yeah, so some of the participants who sent in zines, these were for the Home Shopping Network segment. We had everyone send in zines, and I left some of the heavier stuff at home because I didn't want to tote it around. But we'll be donating all of that to the libraries and zine collections in the area. Some of that is poetry. We had the local CU Poets group do a reading of Crows on a Nest, and that had a lot of great response. But I talked to Jim O'Brien a lot and bug him for for things.
You were persistent.
Yeah.
And it paid off. Good for you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, congratulations.
I have a comment. First of all, I just wanted to congratulate you because I thought I attended many of these things, and I thought it was just a tremendous job for turning something into the virtual format. I attended Tanya's keynote talk, and it was really sweet because it was very calm and talking about like poetry as a healing modality, and just like so many. Such a diversity of things when you consider all that you were able to put together, from, different kinds of writing being showcased. And I was just, I was really smitten by this Home Shopping Network idea. I was involved with the creation of Midwest Zine Fest at the IMC, which in some ways in my mind, I think Small Press Fest has sort of continued forward this like dedication to zine, like a zine festival in this sense, and thinking about what we lose when we don't get to have everyone in a room together with their tables and their zines set out to be purchased.
Yeah.
Having the Home Shopping Network is such a playful, jokey way of still getting people's personal zines out there for purchase, and I thought that was very creative.
Yeah.
And this Cow House Press Workshop was probably my favorite workshop throughout the
so
pandemic
good.
that we did virtually for Young Artist Studio. I was really impressed by the kit they put together. It was really dynamic, and kids were being very, very imaginative. So I just wanted to commend you on that. It was really an interesting festival to look at. All of our festivals that have gone virtual have been really like just taking so much creative thought and putting them in new directions to be able to make the festivals work and make them possible. And being at something like Tanya's talk, where people are able to talk about like things they're going through and like how their writing has served as a tool, to then seeing like local writers like Z. Snyder and, you know, the people from Crows on a Line. Like, this is just such a, I think it did a really good job of showcasing local and regional people.
Thank
So
you. I appreciate
congratulations.
that so much. Yeah. Going forward, it's going to feel lazy just to have people in a room, but I'll have to.
A lot less of a production that you
Yeah.
have to do, but it'll be production in the old and familiar ways that we know, I suppose.
Yeah. We'll think of some different things going forward,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah.
But
Do you think you'll retain some of the elements that you learned from the experience of having to go, being forced to go virtual, but
yeah,
might
absolutely.
be advantageous in the future?
Yeah, I think that online is in some ways a lot more accessible for people who have time constraints, mobility constraints, you know, just don't want to leave the house today. So
Yeah.
I
Or
think
can't,
that,
yeah.
yeah, I think, you know, having virtual options is going to be here to stay for people.
I think so.
But,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
That's great.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to better, new and better things to come.
Thank you.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm also a former special ed teacher, and I apologize because I haven't been able to preview everything, but what kind of outreach was there for people with different abilities, people who are on the spectrum? Was there participation from people in those different populations?
That is hard to say. With the, you know, the virtual or the, you know, the online technology tools, we were somewhat limited in what they offered. I mean, there was like, you could add closed captioning and that kind of thing. But that is something, you know, I felt like I was scrambling a bit just to like piece this together virtually, and then that is definitely something that we'll be more thoughtful about going forward, like how to attract that audience for a virtual environment. In person, I have ideas, but virtually, I did not. So,
Well, and as a note, one thing that's kind of, I think, exciting for the arts program is our new application invites some collective thinking from all of us around topics like that, like accessibility topics, and gives suggestions, as well as a small guide about how we could maybe use these kinds of things in the future. Like, I definitely thought those topics came up at Tanya's talk, because there was a lot of people talking about different things that they go through, but with respect to also, I think one could argue very much ability status. So I would love to see it grow. I think all of us want to see those types of outreach things grow, and hopefully the arts program will be able to help give some support to independent grantees when they're considering putting those kinds of things together.
yeah, absolutely. We all have experience and thoughts about it now to add to the conversation.
Yeah.
Do you have a website that you can ask those sort of questions and ask for suggestions? Maybe someone would offer you some guidance?
Yeah, I'll definitely, yeah, we could add some kind of like form on our website to see, you know, just as a sort of passive, you know, please come do this. But we'll also, I think, be talking to other arts fairs and distance education people just to see how they manage for specific scenarios.
Sure, yeah. I think we all learn from those experiences, definitely.
Yeah.
This is a good example of people at the university also, you know, really doing some deliberate outreach with the local communities. So we value it so much, what the librarians are doing with Small Press Fest.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's hopefully this is only the second year, so I hope it keeps growing momentum and gets more and more people involved.
Well, it's nice when you can do it in person too, because more people come to the community and spend their disposable dollars and spend time here. And there's nothing like that buzz. I'm a small publisher, music publisher, and I know when I used to go to conventions, it was like the excitement of seeing people that you don't normally see, and you know, being in the same place at the same time all at once. It's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely hard to capture that excitement, but we tried.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Sarah.
you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Thank you for all these materials. Do you want to see some of that?
And you want to
should like
take
to
these
see
back
some of
home
that.
with you, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay, this is beautiful.
You're going to the
Take a look
library.
at that.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
Just
next,
get a bag, put it back.
oh, here's a bag for him. Okay, and then this, some of that came from this as well. So we have, can I move on? Can we move on maybe to the next one? Oh, I should have asked you how to pronounce this. Max, are you here? How do you, Pochask? And William Villaflor of the Urbana High School Film and Media Arts Club are here to present the final report for their 2021 Urbana Arts Grants Project, Urbana Mixed Arts Student Showcase. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi. Hey, thanks so much for having us.
Good to have you here.
Can I pull up a presentation on this computer?
You can. Take your time.
All right, thank you.
Here's a culture.
And Barbara and Frank, once you're finished looking, we'll compile those back up for Sarah.
Sure.
That's part of it.
More here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Get you, yeah, get that text message.
Audio.
No.
No, no.
While they're setting up, I'll also remind everyone here that if you didn't get a chance to view or attend the Small Press Fest, all of those videos are available online still. So if you want to see any of the talks that were local talks and regional talks, they're all there. And you said the Home Shopping Network will be on UPTV? That's wonderful.
Just in case. Let's pull up. No, you're welcome.
Oh, like there was one.
Yeah, but a tiny URL.
When did this club start, gentlemen?
I'm sorry.
When did this club start? I'm just curious.
You can pull that up. Max actually started the club in September of 2020, and so this
Oh.
fall of this past school year. And I'm really thankful that he asked me to be the staff sponsor for the
Uh-huh.
club. And so this is our first foundational year and our first year as a club.
I'm just curious, I'm a former teacher at this school, but
Wow.
also my son is a graduate, and he was editor of the Echo, but they didn't have that kind of club when he was there in the early 2000s.
Oh man, unfortunately not. Yeah,
Yeah, he would have loved it, I'm sure. He's in the business now, but he would have loved that kind of club.
yeah.
How do we get it presented?
They'll put it up.
Oh,
You
okay,
can
perfect.
see it.
Awesome. Okay, how do we start?
Introduce
Yeah, pull your
yourself.
microphone over. There you go.
All right, thank you so much for having us. My name is Max Pochask. This is Mr. V. Okay. This is Mr. V. He's my club sponsor for the Urbana High School Film and Media Arts Club, I believe is what we called it. So this is a club that I started my senior year of high school, just because we didn't have any sort of club dedicated to kids who are interested in like making short films or anything sort of in like the digital art space. And so we started it in the fall, and we have a few groups of kids working on short films, and I wanted to put together like a dedicated event for these kids to show off what they make. And while sort of brainstorming, I wanted to include even more people, so we expanded the event to include musicians and other visual artists, so like painting, sculpture, etc. And I was previously an intern with Rachel Storm, and so I heard about the arts grant, and it sounded like a fantastic opportunity. So I applied, and thankfully I got it. I'm very, very grateful that they could let us put on an event like this. So a little bit of an overview. We were keeping track of people. This was in May of this year. Over 160 people came throughout our 10-hour event. So we started at like 2 in the afternoon, and it went until about 10 p.m. at night. So 8 hours, 8-hour event. Over 160 people. We had 10 visual artists there was sculptures, photography, painting. We had 12 filmmakers, and we were showing 6 projects. That was in the early afternoon. And then 12 musicians played starting at about 7:30. And the musicians, it was also an incredibly diverse group. We had like singer-songwriters, classical pianists, hip-hop groups, really all across the genres, and also a surprise dance performance from a guy who just showed up, and he like came up to us and was like, "Hey, I think he was a sophomore in high school. I do dance. Could we squeeze in like a 5-minute dance performance?" And we said, "Absolutely, we could do that." Also, we had, I believe the name is Chacha's Tacos or La Paloma taco truck came by, and there were also like free refreshments and water throughout the day. And my incredible club volunteers from the high school, they were able to help us set everything up, keep track of like COVID safety numbers and like who's vaccinated, who's not, and obviously put out all the chairs and equipment. And as well as the folks at the Independent Media Center were incredible like audio engineers, and they put on the show. They were the exact venue space that we wanted. So as far as the grant and what we spent the money on, the vast majority of our funding went towards the IMC and like paying for audio equipment and the engineer, and then other money went to a fantastic classmate of mine made this particular flyer, and then we had those printed out. We compensated him for making it. And we just want to thank you so much, because this is our first year doing anything like this. There's nothing in like our club bank account. This is really like what we needed to have a fantastic start as a club and as an event. And so moving forward, we want to continue to do maybe this exact event or something very similar to it. I'm graduating, or I have graduated, but there are plenty of underclassmen in high school who were a part of planning the event this year and are going to like take charge and be in more leadership positions next year, and I'll help like make sure that they have a perfect transition into the leadership. This opportunity was incredible experience for me and for the classmates, and probably for Will too. And also the IMC had never had, let me just back up. The IMC had never used this back alley space for an event space before, but it was something that they said they were interested in, and we were like a good test for them to see if it worked out. And I think they were really happy with using that back alley as a place to host events. That's all I have. We just want to thank you again so much for the grant money. Yes, thank you.
One thing that I'd like to say really quickly as well, as much as I'm the staff sponsor of the club, and was the person who the grant money was sent to, the Film and Media Arts Club at the high school, as well as UMass, the event that we held, was entirely run, organized, and started by students, and especially Max, taking a lot of leadership in his position as a student, and especially a student during COVID, to do the work of reaching out to Rachel and build connections and apply for the grant. And so it was, as much as it was a student celebration of artwork and visual art, it was also a culmination of a lot of hard work run by students, which was really, really amazing to see.
I'm glad you're singing Max's accolades because I was about to do the same. I had no idea Max was applying for this grant till it came across my desk, and I said, "That's my old intern." And I was so pleased because Max and other interns have always heard from me, like, you can come back and apply and participate, and these very things that you're helping to support, come and be involved with them and benefit from them yourself. And I was so glad that you did that so shortly after. It was really great. And then to see it get funded by the jury was just wonderful. So congratulations on a job well done. I thought that it just was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
How are you going to top that now? You've started something.
I don't know. We just need to make sure it keeps happening and gets bigger and better.
Yeah.
I think also it was just perfect timing. Like, I intentionally, when I applied for the grant, I said, let's make it as deep into the school year as possible so that hopefully people are vaccinated by then. And luckily, almost everyone that attended was vaccinated. And so it was able to be, like, well-populated and safe. Yeah.
Well, and it was another example of kind of the adaptations that I'm seeing grantees do. And something I'm very grateful to see is how creative people are getting and have been in this past year. So taking an event that could have been 2 hours long and stretching it so that it's 10 hours long or 8 hours makes it so that people are not all gathering at once but are kind of flowing in and out of the event. And that's one way to deal with crowds and dispersing people and keeping them socially distanced. So I think it's another example of ingenuity during this time when we've needed a lot to be able to continue the programs forward. So I do hope the students that take over can consider applying for grants again to fund it.
I second that. I'm sure they will. I'll encourage it strongly. Yeah.
Well, I'm meeting with two other film members in the early weeks of August before school starts to start talking about their vision for how do we continue UMass in a way that is authentic and building off of all of Max's really hard work. And so we will be applying hopefully for the grant in the coming year.
Good.
But yeah, conversations are in the works for sure.
I've been in this role and going on 4 years. This is the first high schooler I've seen receive an Urbana Arts grant. So that on its own deserves a round of applause. Well done. Well, thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you so
Do
much.
we have any questions that I can answer, or
Any questions?
we're okay?
Would you use that space again?
Yeah, I really liked it, and it's like very central. I think it has good access for most people in Urbana. We had kids from Champaign come out too, so it's wider than just Urbana students, which is good. I'm glad.
All right.
That space has always been there and nobody thought to use. Look at you, you have a vision. It's great.
Thank you so much again.
You're welcome.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Would you like, looks like Rachel's going to give her staff report now.
And Barbara, now that Jared is here, after Rachel's staff report, we can approve the minutes because we would have quorum, so.
Okay. This is your July staff report from the Urbana Arts and Culture Program. And once PowerPoint begins, I will also begin. Here we are. Okay, so as many of you, if you follow our website or social media, may have deduced, we are slowly returning to in-person programs and things from the Urbana Arts and Culture Program. Still following, of course, guidelines set forth by the Illinois Phase 5 reopening plan and consulting public health guidance. Some events are going to continue virtually. Things like our Young Artist Studio have been kind of a hybrid, but we will continue some virtual events. And we're working to continue to share relief information and resources for artists as a practice going forward. I'll also say that we have had some staffing changes, as we have had in the past couple of months, actually. The program has returned to largely in-person office work. We have a kind of hybrid schedule here at the City of Urbana to limit the number of staff working in the office at once. The program welcomed a number of new arts and culture interns this past June, and each intern has had a variety of new special projects spanning arts marketing, events planning, and general operational support. Our office support specialist, Heather Ann, continues to assist with the Urbana Arts Grant Program, but the program is currently exploring the possibility of hiring a part-time program specialist. Not mentioned here, we are also working, and it's on this slide here, and just received notice from Community Learning Lab that a Social Work 416 cohort of about 4 students will also be working with us on a specific project of our choosing. So those students should also be beginning here in the fall. And we will be working with Urbana School District 116 as they expand what is the executive internship into the fall semester. So it's previously been a spring-only program for an Urbana High School senior. Now will be expanded into the fall. We'll also work with them in the fall. Big news on the front of the Urbana Arts Grant Program. We are finally going electronic with all of our applications, reporting, final reports, grant tracking, and we're using a software called Neighborly. So thanks to the work of Heather Ann, specifically to get all of that set up, as well as our interns in doing lots of data entry to enter all our 2020 grantees, 2021 grantees. And we now have them all uploaded, so they're kind of cross-checking, and we'll be able to have them start to submit their final reports through that portal and really kind of get our footing before we launch the 2022 applications in October of 2021. Get confused with me. But all this to say, as has been our typical timeline of at least the last couple of years, we will be releasing applications in October for the next cycle. They will be due in mid-January, juried in February, with notice sent out by end of February, early March to all recipients. We do have quite a number of projects that are well underway of the 2020 cycle and 2021, and we continue to promote them on our website and social media pages so you can find out a lot about all the different programs. But first, I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about Boneyard Arts Festival, which happened this past month, and of course is another one funded by the Urbana Arts Program. We have, I wanted to pull up this insert of the quick guide so that you can see that actually Urbana Arts and Culture Program events really had a hand in quite a lot of the things that are even appear here on the front page. All things mentioned here on the front page were also programs of ours at the Urbana Arts and Culture Program. So really excited to see that we were able to contribute some notable events during the Boneyard Arts Festival. And I don't have the second page with all the venues listed, but we had, Urbana had the majority of the venues were in Urbana this year. We had 29 out of the 53 participating venues were in Urbana, and quite a wide variety of events going on in Urbana as well. I wanted to highlight the ones that we were able to contribute as a arts and culture program from the city. The first is a Boneyard meet and greet, meet the artist with Nathan Westerman. I'll talk about this in a moment, but the piece that you see here is the one in front of the corner of Illinois and Vine Streets right out front here at the city building that was installed as part of the Great Art Doors. And you can see it here with Barbara and some of the installation going on. We also had an artist talk with Greg Stallmeyer, whose piece, What is the Good, was also installed right a hair before Boneyard so that we could get it in and also be able to feature it during Boneyard Arts Festival. And here's some pictures from that artist talk as well. We also had an event called Urbana Grows Wild. This was our youth chalkathon, and this was in place of Young Artist Studio, so intended to be a youth event on what is typically our Young Artist Studio Sunday, but we made it 2 hours long, so this was a collaboration with the Urbana Free Library. And here's some photos. We featured DJ Kamau Mau, and local artist Kinsey Fitzgerald was leading the activities. And we also had with us the Park District's Urbana, their mobile art unit, was giving out art kits at this event and our other event as well. The other event I mentioned is the 6th annual Urbana Celebrates the Boneyard event that we were able to put together right before. A lot of the things for Boneyard were put together so swiftly because it was only, I think, a week or two prior that the governor had sort of announced that we were able to gather in ways that we hadn't previously. So a lot was assembled quickly for in-person events. So we were able to have Joyful Bubbles and dance music therapy, as well as live painting with Cody Schinker, doing a live Reptar from Rugrats right out there for the kids to see. Really wonderful event. We also had We Want to Woke Community Justice Choir singing Under the Bridge towards the evening. So it was a really beautiful event that evening. A couple of other exhibits that we were able to put together as well. This was funded by an Urbana Arts grant, but Stargazers celebrating Juneteenth with Shea Robinson and Stacy Robinson, which is a poetry and graphic design exhibit. You can see it here, and it's also still on display at the Urbana Free Library, so if you haven't been by to view the poetry and the artwork, go see it. And there were some in-person components to this where youth could come in and do coloring book pages and talk to the artists, and very well attended when I went by as well. We also had a hand in the Urbana High School AP art class Boneyard Art Exhibition, which we called Remote Work. This was all artworks from Urbana High School's AP art class, and we originally had it set for hanging here in City Hall. The city ended up delaying the reopening of the city building, so we put it at the Independent Media Center, which ended up being wonderful. We had 2 exhibits going on there, Freddie West, who's an independent artist, and Remote Work, both kind of side by side when you walked in the IMC. So this is the students that came out to help hang, and the teacher, Jill Lagerstam, there as well, instructing the students on how to hang art. So it was also an educational opportunity. Of course, that brings us to other new news of the past month. The Urbana Utility Box mural program was installed. This here is Greenhouse 2 by Megan Hines on the northeast corner of Race and Main Streets in Urbana. We also have Guilt Trip by Black Mau on the corner of Main and Vine Streets in Urbana, as well as Convergent Evolution by Eka at Crystal Lake Park Family Aquatic Center. We also had a virtual unveiling that was featured on UPTV, still available for viewing on YouTube. Thank you to Barbara and Frank for both participating in that video series and talking about the work with us. We were also highlighted in local arts magazine Smell Politely. We do plan to release the next call for art for this already, because Urbana Utility Box mural program did experience some significant delays. So we actually had done this call for art back at the end of 2019. So we're ready for another one, which is great because there's a lot of excitement right now around the Utility Box murals. So we're going to be releasing a call for art just later this month, and more people will be able to apply to have their work featured on 4 additional utility boxes, as well as we will be concurrently announcing murals on glass. So there will also be a municipal building announced at that time, in which we will also take a call for art. Now I have to mention 2 very exciting developments that I sort of tipped my hat to at the last meeting, but didn't fully describe because we weren't sure if we got the funding yet. But we applied for an AARP Community Challenge grant and did receive that grant for a public art initiative called Growing Community. We describe it as an initiative that invites local artists to design and install artworks on selected local community gardens, inclusive of installation works, murals, sculptures, and creatively designed benches that are ADA accessible. Artwork selected will be selected through a jury process, should engage the mission of the selected community gardens, celebrating sustainability, diversity, the local food system, native plants, and community building among neighbors. They should not only engage in creative placemaking and beautification, but offer arts-based ways to amplify support for the work of our smaller community gardens and their resources, such as public seating, civic engagement, storytelling, and gathering. So we were awarded $20,000 through the AARP Community Challenge Grant. This will go to City Council for acceptance. The grant should fund artist honorariums, material costs, installation costs, and administrative fees. This is a community challenge grant, offers small grants to fund quick action projects that help communities become more livable for people of all ages. Applications are accepted for projects that improve public space, housing, transportation, civic engagement, diversity and inclusion, and the arts. So just wanted to let you know that that's coming. You'll hear much more about that very soon. And my other wonderful piece of information is that we also received the CORE Community and Research Partnership Grant. So I applied to both grants with partners. The CORE grant, we applied for a program that we call Disability Aware Cities. And I should say the emphasis for AARP is also on diversity, but also disability diversity. So really focused on designs that not only are ADA accessible, but they'll be put into multiple languages. If we have signage, it'll also be available in Braille. So there's some efforts made there to also focus on disability inclusion through both of these grants. The second is the CORE Community and Research Partner Grant. This is from the University of Illinois' Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation. We applied for this in collaboration with Krannert Art Museum, and they're the recipient of the grant funding. So we don't have to necessarily manage the money, but we'll benefit directly from this grant. What it is designed to do is foster and extend community and campus partnerships and civic engagement. So what we did was work together with PACE, Inc., Krannert Art Museum, and the College of Applied Health Sciences, which is now piloting its first disability studies minor at the University of Illinois, to work together to forge conversations around accessibility and grow collaborative relationships that ground in the power of public art. The project includes listening sessions on the topic of disability in the arts, and really combines students who are involved at the disability minor and consumers from PACE Inc. to work together in teams to do oral history gathering on the experiences of people with disabilities in the built environments. And then those stories will be captured, and we'll have things that, this is a rough sketch, so things that may look like this that are then installed in different sites around Urbana that tell stories about of the experience of the world from people with disabilities from our local community that are then translated into multiple languages but available through a QR code scan as a public art piece. So that's another project coming this year. That grant we were awarded for $15,000 for stage 1 of the project, and the project is eligible for additional funding going forward over the next 2 to 3 years, I believe. But that's just another exciting grant that we were able to write and receive. So let's talk now about Urbana Poet Laureate Ashanti Files, who continues to maintain a very robust calendar of engagement and outreach. She recently attended the Martha's Vineyard Institute for Creative Writing as a Voices of Color Poet Fellow, and was able to also network a lot there with other regional and national poets. She also hosted the Poet Laureates Showcase, which we've kind of made an annual event now where the Poet Laureate is invited to hand select poets from the local community to feature. So she featured 11 poets. Their names are Adeinka Elsalde, Cielo Jones, Dawn Blackman, Janelle Davenport Pleasure, Jasmine Somerville, Marvin Nelson, Ruby Mendenhall, Sandria Flows, Shea Robinson, and the writers of Oya. So that was the most recent event here on the 28th of June at the Urbana Free Library. We were going to have it in Cherry Alley. It got very hot and predicted rain, so we moved it indoors. It was our first indoor event at the Urbana Free Library in a year, and for the library as well. And it went really well. Yeah. And thank you, Barbara, for attending as well. We also have her beginning her Writers of Oya summer session, so she's very involved with weekly sessions with middle school and high school girls on writing, and we're working on planning a teen writers retreat for the fall. But those are some developments that she's had going on. I do want to note that we have continued to delay the Urbana Poet Laureate, the Youth Poet Laureate program. So our new deadline will be in September, and the hope will be that students returning to school who will have it promoted to them again will continue to apply. Those who already applied will have an opportunity to amend or add to their applications. Then we'll jury it and select in October for a full cycle, year cycle with the Youth Poet Laureate, our first ever City Youth Poet Laureate. The reason we delayed was just that we continued to have low submissions, and we wanted to get that number up before we jury. Okay, Young Artist Studio continues with the Urbana Free Library. In addition to the Chalkathon I mentioned, our next Young Artist Studio is Kids Dance Bomba by Elizabeth Eli Pabon. She is a multi-talented dancer, singer, lyricist, educator, grant writer, and percussionist, born and raised in Boston to a Puerto Rican family of performers and educators, and grew up learning the importance of music and dance and health education, healing, resistance, and community building. She'll be teaching dance rhythms and drums in the history of the Puerto Rican tradition of bomba. And this is coming up next month. Also next month, we are launching Art Show and Tell as a half-hour extra feature following each Young Artist Studio. Art Show and Tell is just what it sounds like. Young kids will be able to bring what they've been working on or things that they've made and share them with their peers. This was actually asked for by participants of Young Artist Studio, so they asked and they shall receive. We're bringing the Art Show and Tell to them. And our new Art Now features Atef Ayadi and airs on Urbana Public Television twice a week throughout the month, and as well as on the UPTV6 YouTube channel. I will mention that Art Now is going to go to every other month, so they'll air now for 2 months, and that is also because of some just strains and needs for Urbana Public Television to be able to accommodate it. So we're gonna just go to every 2 months, and that will allow those episodes to air longer as well. I mentioned last month that the Great Outdoors installations had been completed except for the one that went in right before Boneyard Arts Festival, Transcendence in the Garden. This is the one in front of the City Building by Nathan Westerman. But the other ones are all featured here. So Kim Curtis's Harvest is in Weaver Park. Waiting to Fly by Mohan Tracy is in Crystal Lake Park. These are just the Urbana ones I'm highlighting. There's another set of 5 in Champaign. Between Dog and Wolf. No, I do not speak French. Barbara.
Entre chien et loup.
I knew you would. By Eka at Southridge Park in Meyer Ridge. We have Melt in Chief Schumacher Park by Greg Stallmeyer. Pod Number 7 by K. Hieronymus W. in Learman Neighborhood Community Garden. And our latest one. We're also working together as a group of the 6 organizations that came together for the Great Outdoors to put on a series of events, including things like panel discussions with the artists, a scavenger hunt, encouraging people to go tour and view all of them, and various artist talks and local viewings. So we will be announcing some more events into the fall with the participating artists. Want to quickly mention, when you came here into the city building, you probably saw our walls were bare from art. this cannot stand. So we will be we will be putting in a new Artist of the Corridor exhibit very soon. We're going to be moving the remote work exhibit over here for a short exhibit, and then we'll be starting with a whole new set of 1 to 3 month exhibits going into the year. Urbana Sculpture Project is a project of the Arts and Culture Program and Public Art League, now working collaboratively with 40 North. We select sculptures for placement in the city of Urbana. We are working to possibly renew races and ice pops as they appear here, as well as Peek Between the Trees. And then we were able to install What is the Good this past month. So those are our sculptures on display in addition to the great art doors, and always looking to put more in town. So we will continue to participate with that partnership and seek sculptures going into next year. We also have a new project for street pole banner art. The Urbana Arts and Culture Program launched a new street pole banner art initiative. The initial cycle welcomed selected art from Carly Upchurch, Black Mao, Beth Darling, Ralph Rother, K. Hieronymus W., Phil Strang, Mark Anthony Macon, and Eka. Street pole banners will be on display later this month in downtown Urbana, and so you'll see them throughout downtown.
Nice.
I didn't include it here in your staff report, but it pains me because I need to mention it. So, a new initiative that we have coming out is Cinema and Sound. This is going to be monthly film screenings and music available right in the heart of downtown. Our first one's going to be in the Busey lot of downtown Urbana on July 28th. We're going to have Ibrahim open for Black Panther, and in some cases we'll have an artist, a musician open for a film or a band open for a film, and in a couple of cases we're hoping to have the whole film scored. So our second one is August 11th, featuring The Dragon Painter, which is a 1919 Japanese silent film being scored by Jason Finkelman's experimental band and Kuroshio. So I'm very excited about that one. That one will be in Boneyard Creek Crossing. Go ahead, Frank.
What are the times?
Yes, so we gather at 7, and I apologize, this isn't exactly the flyer, it's the Facebook banner, so it doesn't have all the details on it. But we gather at 7 for activities and the band, in the case of this one, and the film screens at around 8:30, which is about sundown. So we will have other folks there with us. Urbana's going to come and bring the mobile art projects, and then we're going to also hopefully have Kona Ice and the historic popcorn truck there with us, giving out popcorn. So we did last year, or 2 years ago now, Urbana Love Summer Movie Nights, and we really wanted to craft this as a place where you could hear live music and see a film. So Cinema and Sound is what you got this summer, and we hope to carry it into the fall as well and see if we can't do it year-round, but move it indoors.
Do you know by chance what the instrumentation is of Jason's score?
I
Has he
do.
told you?
It's listed online, but I can't remember off the
Oh,
top of my
just
head.
curious.
Yeah, it's listed online. I know it involves, there's definitely, we're going to be setting up as a way for them to all hear each other because they're doing an improvisational score. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It'll be very exciting. I hope you all come out. Go ahead, Frank.
I'm not clear where this is happening.
Yep, so this one's in the Busey lot in downtown Urbana, the
Busey
first
lot.
one on
Busey
July
lot, okay.
28th. The August 11th one will be in Boneyard Creek Crossing. And our hope is to have the September, I believe it's September 8th, we're going to be showing Soul. If you're familiar, it's a newer, I believe, Pixar film. And Therapy is going to be opening for that, playing some of the same songs that are in the film. So very exciting. So we'll have kind of a soul music night at that one, and it remains to be seen the rest of the schedule, but I hope to share it at the next meeting.
And where will that one be on September 8th?
It'll be back at the Busey lot.
Busey lot, thank you.
And then our October one will move indoors, and we're hoping to have it at Lincoln Square Mall in the High Court area. So lots to announce about that, but I just wanted to make sure you had at least this date, the July 28th date. Hope you can make it out. Lastly, I just want to mention that we continue to work with Imagine Urbana to dream up ideas of how we want to use the arts as a method for gaining public input around what our artistic future should look like 20 years from now. So we will have some engagement opportunities to announce. I hope to have some announced next month at the next meeting. And then we'll continue to share COVID-19 relief information with local artists. Again, still using this great resource provided by Americans for the Arts. Any questions for me?
Any questions? No? I guess not. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
We want to return. Would this be a good time, you think?
That's true. We could go right into that if
Want
you
to let
want.
Stephanie do that first?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'd like to welcome you to the dais. Come on up, then.
Oh, no,
Right?
it's not Stephanie, it's me doing it.
Oh, it's you?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. You scared her.
I thought I misunderstood what you said, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's really just an update that I added on our agenda regarding vacancies, because
Oh, sure.
as you all can deduce, we are sparse today. I think this is the most sparse we've been in, I don't know, Barbara can attest, maybe 10 years. I don't know.
Yes, I can concur.
Yes. So we have at least 3, possibly 4 vacancies on the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission right now. I was informed by Janelle Orcherton that last meeting was going to be her last meeting as well. Unfortunately, I didn't know that to be able to recognize her at the last meeting she was at, and she wasn't able to come today. But I do want to say out loud for anyone listening that Janelle Orcherton contributed quite a bit to our Arts Commission,
Sure.
and she'll be missed. And I hope that she'll apply for grants and be involved in other ways now. And then, of course, last meeting, we acknowledged that Stacy Robinson and Pat Salmon were leaving the commission. So Barbara had agreed to chair today, though we do not have an official chair at this time. My hope is that between now and next meeting, we should receive some applications, be able to have mayoral appointments of some additional people to fill those vacancies, and at that meeting, let's vote and get a chair established. And so by next meeting, I hope these seats will be filled, but this was going to be a meeting, a return to in-person meeting was going to be a small one. And I wanted to invite all of us to promote those vacancies as much as we can. We'll promote them on social media. We do have people that have applied for in the past. I'm going to invite to renew their application. And I know we've already received an application or 2. So hopefully they'll be easy to fill. But certainly please think about skill sets, areas of expertise, representation in the arts, and really promote it and make sure that we continue to build a robust and diverse group of people working together in the Arts Commission. That was my spiel.
Thank you. I would think maybe with some new faculty member and spouses coming to the community too, we might get another batch of possibilities.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they'll all be coming if they're not here already.
Mhm,
It'd be great. Well,
definitely.
thank you. Now? Thank you. We needed to revisit the approval of the meetings from the June meeting, and wondered if there are any questions or objections? Anyone willing to?
I'll
Approve
move
them?
approval of those minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Or you do it?
No, I don't think I
Okay.
actually have to call roll anymore. I think I just. That's true.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
because we're back in person.
Oh, well, it
so-
won't hurt. It didn't
Voice,
hurt.
voice vote.
Yeah,
We had a voice vote, so
Awesome.
we're all in agreement.
all in agreement.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Motion
You're
passed.
welcome.
Approve those minutes.
Minutes approved.
Great job, Heather Ann.
Wonderful. So do we have any new business to discuss? Then officially now, do we need to, because we're in person, do we have to have a second on adjournment? We were in that interim period.
Sure, end the meeting.
Well, I'd like to say thank you all for coming. It's great to see you again in person. Yeah. Wonderful to be back again. The meeting is adjourned.